1, 2, 3, 4. It's not. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. Okay, so then the news cam works. So it has to be something turned off in the booth, right? Oh, well then why don't we give him, if we gave them 31, would that be?
It's still minus, isn't it? I mean,
Hold on.
So we need that to be unlocked downstairs.
Check 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
Help us, we pray, and give thanks. To all my honorable relations, we are the Nisqually people. We raise our hands to our ancestors. We respect the ancestors' knowledge of all things. We give thanks. It's good we can gather on this day. We are thankful for each and every one here. Please keep our family and friends safe. Please watch over them always in their good health, happiness, and good fortune befall them. All my relations.
Thank you very much, Shay. Governor, you want to say a few words? I know we're going to go into the library with our tribal council, and we have a Zoom, a quick 10-minute Zoom setup. You want to do that first? Okay. Oh, that's right. Sorry about that. Harvey, you remind me that we do have one more song here. Take it away, Harvey.
Greetings, good morning, family and friends, Dr. Inslee. It's so good that everybody gathered for this historic occasion. My heart is good and happy. Over the years, Billy Craig Jr. and his family here at the Trains Landing, they've been keepers of many traditional Nisqually songs. They have been so generous over the years to come here to Blackwood Indian School on the traditional land of the Nisqually people and teach us these songs so that our children can carry them on as the future. So in honor of Billy Craig Jr., in honor of all ancestors celebrating with us gathered here today, in honor of our sacred Nisqually land here, we share a song, a very special song, the Nisqually Ocean Song. Thank you.
So we are going to take about 10 minutes in the Inslee Tribal Council, the Governor Inslee in the library. It'll be a quick call with tribal leaders, so please enjoy some hors d'oeuvres, and then we're going to get into the bill signing in about 10 minutes. So, and Lieutenant Governor Heck and Representative Lexon, can you please join us as well? And Justin and Todd. So I don't know, somebody's got jokes there, I know you got jokes, so somebody needs to tell us some jokes here.
Challenge yourself to the
Not yet. That's an important job, very, very important. Okay, are we ready to go here? No, not yet. So, good morning, everybody. For those who don't know me, my name is Willie Frank III, Nisqually Tribal Council member. My Indian name is Poloshkid, and that was given to me by my grandfather, Willie Frank Sr., who lived to be 104 years old. That's an important job, very, very important. I'm going to do a quick intro. Okay, are we ready to go here? Here at the Wahilud Indian School, and I think everybody can sit around and see why we're here when we look up and see this beautiful canoe here. So, good morning, and the significance of having the bill signing down here was this was my father's canoe. And actually, in the flood of '96, the canoe was taken from us here at Frank's Landing, but it was returned home. So, the significance of us having the bill signing in here is huge to the school and to our family, to the Nisqually tribe, and everybody here. So, we're going to start. We have a few speakers here, and I'd like to introduce Governor Inslee, who will be the first speaker here.
Good morning. This is such an honor for me to be here today on this great occasion. To being a warrior for justice. He was a warrior for the natural world and the values that we hold so dear in the state of Washington. Salmon are next to our hearts, and now we have a warrior for salmon in the United States Capitol. It is both his virtues of being a warrior for justice for his people to finally see the law of the United States actually being followed. And let's be clear what he did. He stood up for the law of the United States, and it took him decades for that law to finally be recognized. But he also represented the best of Washington State, which is recognizing this jewel we have in our waters, in our air, in our mountains, in our rivers. And for that, I'm so gratified to be able to sign a bill making sure that he is honored, which is what we're going to do today. So I also want to note that we were just in there talking about our memories with some of the tribal leaders of Billy Frank Jr. We all have profound memories of him. And what I said was that my story about Billy Frank is for that, the future, not just the past. Because I can tell you, and I can warrant to you, I do not have a conversation with anyone in the state of Washington about the natural blessings of our state, that Billy Frank Jr.'s spirit is not invoked. It does not matter what it is we're talking about, from trees to water to salmon to orcas, that Billy Frank Jr.'s name is not part of the discussion. And I think it is a wonderful thing that now when people walk through the U.S. Capitol, and I've seen this many times, moms and dads taking their kids walking through the Capitol, and the kids will point up at a statue, Father Damien of Hawaii, Sacagawea, Will Rogers from the Midwest, and they'll ask, who was that, Mom? They're now going to hear the story of Billy Frank Jr. in the United States Capitol. And I think that is a treasured moment. And I'm glad that we are doing that for this reason. So congratulations to everyone who recognized that today we are sending the best of the state of Washington to the United States Capitol. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Governor. Next on our agenda here, I'd like to introduce our Nisqually Chairman, Ken Choke, to come up and say a few words.
Good morning, family, friends of the Nisqually Nation, Medicine Creek Nation. You know, it's a great day today when we sign into law the statue commemorating the Frank family, Billy Frank Jr. Also recognizing the fact that, you know, he couldn't have done this without our people here in the great Northwest, the tribes throughout these nations. Here in the Pacific Northwest, that's nationwide. You know, this is the message that's going to be spread throughout Washington, D.C. with this statue. It's a great honor, not only for the Nisqually Nation, but Native and whole. Our brother from Alaska to come witness this signing of this bill. This is great. Everyone here, recognizing this young man in the back here, Nugent Couch, that stood side by side. My aunt, my uncle, you know, numerous family members here in the Nisqually Nation. Our whole tribal council today, all 7 members are here to witness our brother from Alaska, what is about to take place in history with Billy Frank Jr. You know, Jay is a kind of a hard act to follow, but I am very honored that the Frank family asked me to speak today for Nisqually. You know, it's a great honor for the Frank family and what they've established here on the banks of the Nisqually River, the fish wars, you know, the numerous battles that took place. Some of our, you know, folks that battled have passed on, but that lives through the generations in this school here as well throughout the Northwest. But again, I want to thank the Frank family, the Nisqually tribe, the state of Washington, and everyone here today to witness this day in history for Medicine Creek and Nisqually Nation. Thank you.
So before I get to the next speaker, Chairman Choke reminded me, of course, I would like to acknowledge Nuji Couch. I know he doesn't like being acknowledged, but you know, Nuji is the last of the 6 renegades that used to go to jail all the time for fishing. So I want to make sure that I acknowledge Nuji, as well as our other past tribal council members. I know we have a few former chairmen here in the audience as well, so I want to make sure that we acknowledge them as well. But the next speaker we have is a family friend and a uncle. I've had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with Lieutenant Governor Heck before he was our congressman back in DC. And it's hard to get the lieutenant governor title down because it's used to congressman, you know, so it'll take a little bit of time. But I'd like to bring up Denny to say a few words here.
So much love in this room. I want to start by saying I'm not worthy to be here. I truly am not, but I'm infinitely grateful for the chance to be here. I'm not worthy to be here with Governor Inslee, whose incredible responsibility and privilege it is will be to sign this into law, nor with Representative O'Connell, without whose inspired and effective leadership, we wouldn't be here today at all, or with Willie, my friend, my dear friend, taking his own path, but absolutely following in the footsteps of his father. So thank you, one and all. What we're doing here today is frankly almost a sacred act, to hold up Billy as an exemplar of the best of us, as surely he was, as Governor Inslee so eloquently described, as someone whose life and whose journey and whose actions were truly historic. Nothing less. They were truly historic. From the time he was that self-described getting arrested guy to the time he was the great reconciler. He guided us, and he inspired us, and he taught us. As I have said often, and I don't think it can be said too often, Billy Frank was a great man. He was a great man. And he deserves to be in Statuary Hall. But you know what? I think we deserve for him to be in Statuary Hall, to see him there. He's kind of a modern choice, having walked on, frankly, not that long ago, but he's also an ancient choice, right? Because he ties us back to those of you who have been here from the very beginning, time immemorial. And it's because of that that he is a choice that will stand the test of time. Speaking of time, it is said that you die twice. The first time, and then the second time, when people stop talking about you or remembering you. Well, because of what is happening today, we're never going to stop talking about or remembering Billy. And he is going to keep guiding us and inspiring us and teaching us. And we are all the better for it. Thank you for the privilege to be here.
Thank you, Denny. So our next speaker is a good friend and I consider her family. I've had the opportunity to learn, and she's helped me out a lot with being on tribal council and being a tribal leader. So I would like to bring up Representative Lekanoff, but I also told Deb before that I didn't want you to feel too out of place, so we got Mike Williams down here to be able to come and make you feel more at home.
If you listen closely, you can hear Billy's voice throughout the room. Tell your story. 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 Never forget who you are and where you come from. We stand in this room surrounded by the spirit of Billy today, rising us up, reminding us of what's important, our values, our dedication to our people, 7 generations of knowing. I came to Washington State as a young girl fresh out of college. I come from the shorelines of Yakutat. When the tide is out, the table is set. Every species of king salmon comes from Yakutat and flows in there. The hooligans, the herring eggs, the sea urchins, the seaweed, our halibut cheeks. And I came to Washington and I sat with the tribes and I said, where is your salmon? Where are your hooligans? Where is your seaweed? Where are your clams? And my heart broke as the tribal leader said, and it was Billy, we're still fighting for them to return. Billy will stand in Washington, D.C. amongst the greatest of the great as the greatest man that he is. And he will tell the story of who we are as Native American people, the first Americans, the first Washingtonians. He will make sure that your children's children of this great America will know who you are and where you come from. It's an honor to stand with Lieutenant Governor Heck. It's an honor to stand with Governor Inslee. It's an honor to stand with Chairman Cho, with Willie. It is an honor to stand on the homelands of Billy in the mighty Nisqually tribal nation. It took every bone for me not to stop and jump out of my car and put my hands on the ground where Billy walked and say thank you. To Nisqually, thank you for sharing Billy with us. I had to stop and hug Denny, I know. And so I promised not to cry. Billy told me a piece of advice as I was that young girl. Mike was there with me at that time. We were sitting around the table getting ready for the Coast Salish gathering, and he said, Deborah, it takes a lot of patience to be an Indian. That's why we're still here. But for you, young lady, as a Tlingit woman, it's going to take even more patience to be an Indian. I'm honored to be able to work with all of you. Thank you, Nisqually, for sharing Billy with us. Thank you for letting him share your teachings of where your bloodlines come from to help build who I am today. Let's get Billy out to Washington, D.C. to tell our story.
So closing remarks, and it's, I'm doing the closing remarks on behalf of the family. And, you know, it's tough to still talk about my dad, you know, because to me, he was just my dad, you know, and I'm glad to have my brother here today and all of my nieces and nephews here and family and my wife, Peg, to be here and witness this historic day. There's so many people who we want to thank, and I don't have the list of everybody because there's too many, so I just want to thank everybody who took part on making this happen. You know, Representative Lekanoff, Justin Parker, Todd, there's many folks who made this happen. And we started this conversation last year about this time, and we were thinking maybe, well, 2-3 years out, we'll get this done. And we're a year later here, we're talking about signing this into law. And what are the next steps? And when we talked about this process here to sign it, I couldn't think of a better place to be but right here in the lobby of the Wahilot Indian School where my father's canoe hangs still. You know, and my father was arrested over 50 times in his life right here on the Nisqually River for exercising his treaty right, for doing what he was taught by his dad and his grandfather. My brother and I, we still fish in the same set where my father and grandfather fished. That's over 100+ years of our family being able to fish in the same area here along the Nisqually River. We're at a turning point right now when it comes to our salmon and our natural resources. You know, what are we doing? We're at a crossroads, and we can't stick with the status quo. The status quo is not working anymore. You know, I want to be able to, this young man right here, Jojo, and I always like pointing Jojo out because he's a young Nisqually tribal member who is going to be a leader someday at the tribe. And I want that generation to be able to fish on this river and to be able to catch a salmon and hold up that salmon with pride and joy. And it's tough when you go through the North of Falcon process, and I think about my dad a lot. And like you said, patience. It really is patience. It takes a lot of patience to be an Indian. You know, I know my father right now is looking down. He's very happy to see this event taking place. He's very happy to see our elders here, our tribal members, friends, family, former folks that he used to work with. You know, we would love to do a bigger event at some point as well and acknowledge everybody who took part in this. I think everybody knows, you know, one of the greatest features of my father was bringing people together. And here we are today, all together, recognizing my father. And then when we get that caravan going to Washington, D.C., as my cousin Nancy wanted to do, the Trail of Tears there, and she wanted to take the ride across the country when it is time to take that statue over there and get it set up and acknowledge my father. But also he was about making sure that we were all working together. And I think that's what is so important today, to have the governor and folks from the state of Washington here to show that we can work together for the future of our people. And I think, one of the biggest things here, he'd be happy to see this, but he'd also tell all of us up here on the stage that we're not done. We're a long ways from being done. We have a lot more work to do. He said, you could celebrate today, but tomorrow you guys get back to work. We need to continue the fight. We need to continue the battle and educate people about who the hell we are as Native people. The Medicine Creek Treaty of 1854. We're always going to fight to protect that. We're going to fight to make sure that the federal government, the state of Washington, and everybody understands who we are as Nisqually people. This isn't just for the Nisqually tribe. This is for tribes throughout Indian country. This is for Native people, indigenous people all over the world. To have this opportunity to acknowledge one of our own, it's a huge, it's such an honor. I don't even know what else to say about that. So let's get to the signing. And then after the signing, I'd like to bring our chapel council up. We have a few gifts for Danny, Jay, and Deb. Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. Where's Leanna? Oh, Leanna, can you please come up and get a close view on the signing? You're all right. You're good. Yeah, you're good.
Will it be on this side?
Oh, wait, hold on. Where's Leanna? Oh, Leanna, can you please come up and get a close view on the signing? You're all right. You're good, Leanna. You're good.
Will it be on this side? Will it be on this side?
I'm right here. That's good.
Billy Frank Jr., his spirit is in Washington State, and with my signing of House Bill 1372, his statue will be in Washington, D.C. And I can't wait to see his canoe bear his statue up the Potomac River and be placed in the U.S. Capitol. Congratulations to everyone. I want to thank particularly Representative Lakonoff and all the great leadership that's been going on to make his spirit alive in the state of Washington in the years to come, and now in the United States of America. With that, I'm signing House Bill 1372. Okay, there you go.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And then, you better hold it up for a picture, definitely. There you go.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Governor.
Thank you.
One of the things the Lieutenant Governor pointed out is that the president has already signed this bill, so done deal.
All right, so if we could get the
Doesn't go anywhere without him.
Nisqually Council up here, we just have a couple gifts that we want to gift a few people. Oh, yeah, yes, Nancy, thank you for reminding me about that. So Hanford, please come up. Brian, Dave.
I'm starting on the wrong side. Sorry. No.
Where's Mallory? Okay. Oh, yeah. Deb, actually, sorry, Deb has a gift first for the governor.
So Governor, I'll have you. So Governor, I just wanted to, I'll use my potlatch voice. On behalf of my mom, Frances Baker, on behalf of my community, Yakutat, believe it or not, I can sit still and feed my people. I'm from the Humpy house in Yakutat, so I sewed the Humpy salmon.
You sewed these?
I sewed them, Governor. I know. And we have the salmon berry flowers, the otter, the beaver. This is a land otter. We call it push, and then we have deer hide on the side. And my grandma's old beads.
Oh my God.
So this one's for you, Governor, for making the house treaty on behalf of my community.
Oh my God.
And then quite quickly, My niece, Haley Lakanoff, made and weaved spruce root earrings. My cousin, Shaw, from Yakutat, made salmon skin earrings.
Oh,
With, yeah, it's dried seaweed, or dried salmon skin
yes.
with porcupine.
Oh, my gosh.
And so Trudy gets a little bit of love too.
Oh, my gosh. Yes.
So we'll give this to your staff, and you're all set.
Thank you, buddy. Trudy's here in spirit. She had a little procedure yesterday, so she's at home today.
Very good.
This is an incredible work of art. By the way, Bernie Sanders is going to eat his heart out.
All right, well, can I get our Vice Chairwoman, Nancy Ansqually, and Secretary Whittington up here? We'll do Representative Lekanoff first, and we have a paddle for Representative Lekanoff. and a hat as well, and I'll let Hanford say a few words about the hat.
I was gonna say something about all the hats, because I know Cedar, and as a weaver, you know, and all the gathering that I do, that was taught by, you know, the family, I go up the list of my mom and my dad, Don McLeod Jr., Joyce, and then my grandfather, Don McLeod Sr. When he taught my mom how to weave, she taught me how to weave. And it's become one of those jewels that I like doing. And what I did was gather 3 cedar trees last weekend. And these old growth cedar trees are what we talk about, what Uncle talks about, what my grandparents talked about, of the preservation of this culture. And this heritage of culture, we're going to take this cedar tree and we're going to carve the first statue out of all this cedar wood that I gathered. And these trees came out of Gifford-Pinkel National Forest, and I thank them for the work. But again, it's that battle we had for years to get this wood. And all of a sudden it was like, boom. Like the old guard was down, and they said, what do you want? And I told them, I want this cedar tree because we're going to create some, not only welcome figures, but this statue was part of that. Because in 2015, we talked about this. And Denny Heck was a big part of that. And these hats that I have up here, all 3 of them, were those gifts of that appreciation for the hard work you do and bringing everybody together. And that's what cedar does. It heals you, but it also intertwines those generations together so we're stronger. And I thank you for the time for letting me explain all that, Willie.
All right, Dave. So the next gift will be for Lieutenant Governor Heck, but there was one thing that the governor had to do before, or Lieutenant Governor had to do before he got his gift, and that was Nancy, my cousin here, told me that he has to jump in the river first. You're gonna put the hat across the river, and you gotta swim across, and you gotta get the hat.
Hanford promised me one of these hats 10 years ago. It takes a lot of patience to be Hanford's friend.
Thank you.
And a great friend he is, and I can't tell you how thrilled I am.
Danny, on behalf of the Nisqually tribe, let's take the sticker off of you. We'd like to.
Oh, wow. Perfect, too.
You
Look at that.
Perfect.
Thank you. Wait.
Oh.
There's one more.
Okay, so we have one more gift that 5th Council Member Brian McLeod. You know, with Lieutenant Governor, we know he loves Gonzaga. And we all know they had a tough go in the finals, but we still love the Zags. And we thought about Denny that night as he was probably up there working still, crying inside. But Councilmember McLeod, did you want to say a few words? Or? Yeah.
Well, we're going to put 34-0 on it, but that didn't happen. Cut glass beads made by my niece Paula Kalama. She's from Warm Springs, Oregon. We went to DC how many years ago? Was admiring Denny's office with the native artwork and a lot of Gonzaga stuff in there also. So we talked with Denny about our Bulldogs, but didn't happen. We're hoping for next year.
Thank you, Brian. And of course, last but not least, Governor Inslee, we have a few gifts for you here also. We appreciate all the work that you've done over the years in supporting our tribes here in the state of Washington. You've been in our canoe 2 different times? 2 different times you've been in there.
He got on the canoe and paddled with our youth, and when he came in, you know, the paddlers that we had, he put his little white stuff on his nose and he put his hat on, and I thought, oh, we definitely gotta get him a cedar hat. But yeah. No, he sat in there for about 3 hours and pulled all the way from, I think it was around the corner there, I know that, into Olympia. And he sat there the whole time, which was awesome. Sat next to one of my nephews and really talked to him about not only the journey, but what we were doing, and we appreciated that. So I wanted to make you a hat also. So here you go.
Work of art. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
And
Oh, it's
paddle also.
perfect.
Please take a look at the paddle that was created by Keith Brent, who does an amazing job. Wayne, Keith, Nicole are here today representing the business department. And thank you guys for making this happen. Thank you for being here. So at the last of the event, we're going to have pictures, and then, of course there's hors d'oeuvres out back. So please hang out and enjoy yourself for a little while. Thank you guys all for coming.
I wanted to get a picture.
Brianna, can you get a picture of the governor and Denny?